Everything's still working? Okay. Oh, here we go. Ugh. Okay, so here we have Austin Hollerman. Why I stopped dating in the United States. And yeah, I don't know if this is going to be anything wild. I don't know if he's going to say wild things. Either way, I'm going to leave it up because, you shouldn't just put up reactions to things that you just have a strong opinion about. If he says a bunch of stuff that I'm indifferent about, I'll say that. If I agree with him, I'll say that. This, that, and the third. But I want to see what Mance has to say about dating in the U.S. Now, I don't know if he's Brazilian, frequently visits Brazil, but nonetheless, he has Brazilian-like stuff on here. But, yeah, he seems like he's a stereotypically attractive guy. So, in theory, given the stereotypes, he shouldn't have a problem dating in the U.S. Now, there might be a little problem with, being black, because there's some women that just prefer white guys. But he's in, what I'm saying, he's in the upper echelon. I think most girls will rate him at 8 out of 10. I think he's up there. Even, like, the distorted girls would give him a chance. And he got tattoos and stuff, so he's good. So, let's see what he has to say on this.
Again, and this time we're not going to be talking about Brazil. We're going to be talking about what made me leave to go to Brazil.
Okay.
In other words, what made me stop dating in the United States. If you've watched my TikToks or some of my YouTube videos, you can kind of get a perspective of how, but I'm going to break it down today. So,
I want him to elaborate on that because that introduction was wild. You left the United States to Brazil for dating reasons? Now, I know there's definitely more to it than that. There has to be. There's no way that's the only reason you went there.
And these are in order, I believe.
Hey, that's a good way to do it.
Severity,
have them bullet points so you don't miss nothing.
Why I stopped
respect
dating in the United States. The number one thing, and we're going to say this is actually a bunch, I'm bringing it down. The number one thing that stopped me from dating in the United States was the texting games and the phone call games. The game. So,
okay,
we're
elaborate.
Not brand new. We know this is a thing here. You have to have some sort of game, and people get game confused with charisma. Those aren't the same thing. Okay, charisma is the sweet talking and the emotional aspect of her getting to like you with your words, whoop de whoop. But when I say game,
I want to scroll through this and get a feel for what kind of women is he talking to, because I ain't gonna lie to you, you really okay, so if we're given based off the thumbnails, okay, if you're talking to these not just there's a lot of good looking women out there, so it's not just that. I'm talking you're like stereotypically beautiful women. Like no matter who or what you are, you can acknowledge that is a beautiful woman. These hot girls, these sexy girls. So here's my thing, right? A majority, the thing is, on a scale of 1 to 10, most girls, guys are a 5. 5 is dead average, 4 is a little below, 6 is above average. I am average. I am a 5. Depending on your preferences, I can be a 4 or a 6. You know what I'm saying? If you like short black guys, I would be a 6 or a 7. If you're not a fan of short black guys, I could be a 3 or a 4. So when you're talking to these girls that are a universal 8, 9, 10, you're gonna need game. Like that's how it goes. Because me, if I go talk to another girl that's a 5 or a 4 to most people, I don't have to have a game. Just me being nice and me being genuinely me would be enough to get a girlfriend. And it worked. I mean, it's worked 6 times so far, right? And then I did online dating, so if you count those as relationships, they're not. It worked like 20 other more times. So my thing is, if you're talking to these girls, you can't say the texting game is this, that, and the third. The reason why you need texting game, and the reason why you may feel like they prefer game over charisma, people being nice, giving them compliments, offering them dates and stuff, is because these women that are 8, 9, or 10, they're special. You know what I'm saying? They're special. They're unique. They're different. They're clearly above everything, and everybody wants the best that they can get, their hands on. So the reason why it may seem that way is because they have, everyone could be nice. Everyone can give a compliment. Everyone can do that, right? Not everyone can spit game. Not everyone can offer you a ride in the M8, right? Not everyone can take you to Starbucks in the morning every day. Not everyone just has the free time to pick you up from, you know what I'm saying? So the reason why is because like everybody is telling her she's beautiful. Everybody is sending her good morning. Everybody's responding to her streaks. Everybody is, because they all want that shot. So that's the way to differentiate yourself. We all get desensitized to things that we see a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like the first time you see a car crash, you might be like, oh, glued to the screen. But if you see 8 or 10 car crashes, it's just kind of like, okay. You know what I'm saying? So it's like these women that are really beautiful and whatnot, they get desensitized to being called pretty and the charisma things, because everybody has it. So, you know what I'm saying? Like that's an issue I had with like dating apps and whatnot. It's like everybody on there is, you know what I'm saying? They're going to try to talk to women. Everybody on there is just lobbing shots from deep, trying to land one with just about anybody on the app. So it's like, they're only going to choose like the ones they find the most attractive, because like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's being nice. You might as well pick whichever one you just like off rip the most. So yeah, that's one thing I'm starting to disagree with already.
I get your phone number. Now let me wait 2 or 3 days to call you back. Like if you know alpha male strategy, he says he waits 10 days.
10 is wild.
Back. Why the fuck would I want to do that?
I feel you. Me, I'd do a day or two. Like if I get like your Snapchat, your number or whatever, I'll wait a day. It depends. If we see each other often, I will wait a day or two just to see if you bring it up. You know what I'm saying? Or just waiting for a nice opportunity. Because like if I get your Snapchat or whatever and I say I'm going to text you and then I don't for 2 days and you see me and you're like, yo, you said you were going to text me. You never did. I know you were thinking about it. Now I know you're interested. Now I know where we're at. But if you don't do anything, I still might text you. But it's like I know, you know what I'm saying? You can figure out where you are with stuff like that, which I guess is part of the game that he doesn't like. I think he feels like if I get your number, I should be able to text you an hour after, and we'd be able to, take it from there.
Okay, I get it. But then that's another thing. They say, oh, you got to pretend like you have options. You have to show you have options. Don't blow her up all the time. Text her in between 5 minutes. I
don't do all that.
I said before, don't have a routine. All that shit. All this, you have to have this super strategy just to get to know somebody, or even if you just want to smash somebody. It's usually not just, it's like all these tactics. That's why there's so many YouTubers and dating coaches coming out that are just blowing up, because nobody can truly figure this shit out, right?
Because there's not a formula. I'm saying this like I disagree with him, but nah, he's right. The reason why these coaches can blow up and whatnot is because there's no formula to it, right? And it's like you can't figure it out. It's different for everybody. The things that work for them won't work for us. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're a full-time YouTuber, you have basically all the time in the world, and you have a job that makes really good money depending on the size of your channel. So you can offer a lot more time and financials than most of us could. You know what I'm saying? If I work 40 hours a week, I get 2 days of free time, and especially like doing like YouTube and stuff. What makes you think I really want to spend that free time with you, right? It's like sometimes I want to do something else. So there's not that many people that can be like, who just willingly will just spend their free time with him, especially when you work so much and you have very little of it. But if you're, full-time X, Y, and Z, you're making $100K a year, you like your job, and you got all the, you know what I'm saying? So it's really nuanced. It's different for everybody. So that's why certain people, most people, especially like, this is a little bit of a fallacy. So nowadays it seems like it's harder for men. I don't really think it is. I just think now it's being studied. So now people are trying to find like naturally, if you have a problem, you're looking for the easiest way to solve it with the least amount of effort. So that's what these guys are doing. They're going on and they're trying to hit up these dudes, you know what I'm saying, guys that look like they get a lot of women. How do you do it? And it's like, these guys can tell you how they do it, but they won't, stuff like that won't work for you. You know what I'm saying? Like his methods of approaching and getting a girl like, hold on, we done seen it. Girl like that, you know what I'm saying? Getting his method of approaching and getting women is going to be far different from me because I don't look as well. I'm not tall. I don't have the stereotypically attractive features. The only thing stereotypically attractive about me is that I'm in shape. That's it. But I don't have muscle definition. I'm short. I don't have clear skin. You know what I'm saying? My hair is a little frizzy. My hair is hit or miss for most people. This, that, and the third. I have, alpha males might not like, but I have feminine hand movements. I have feminine gestures. I'm not a stereotypically attractive guy. He is. So his method of getting women will be far different than mine. Also, not only that, but the women he approaches and tries to get will be drastically different than the type of women that I would approach and try to get. So when people are out and they're following these guys' advice, I don't think it's bad to get advice from a third party, to get advice from these dating coaches. But the problem comes when they present their method of getting women or whatever as the only way to do it. And they never add in the fact that it's going to be different for you because, you know what I'm saying? Like Andrew Tate does it subconsciously. He'll be like, I'm top G. I have all this money. I do this, this, and this. I'm hot. I'm a kickboxer, right? It would be good if he says, now my method of getting women might not work for you because you're not a fucking kickboxer. You're not top G, right? So another thing that I'd be thinking of, and this is a good time to say it now, is the thing about the internet that the only thing I really hate is that there's so many different ways to be successful. And I'm not talking successful like money-wise, but I'm talking about like being fulfilled, having, you know what I'm saying, being mentally healthy, doing this, that, and the third. That people always, when they reach that point where they're successful and they're happy, they feel like the way that they did it is the only way to do it. So these people that get the women and whatnot, they feel like their way is the only way you can possibly do it and nothing else works because that works for them. But they don't understand that, you're talking to 10,000 people. Not all of them are 6 foot tall. Not all of them look very good. Maybe they don't have a good skincare routine. They don't have the free time. Maybe they don't enjoy doing some of the tactics you use, right? It's just a whole
if you're
bowl.
Somebody like me that's on their purpose, I'm trying to get my money right so I can live overseas and get the hell out of here. I don't have time for the games. Look, baby, either you want to fuck with me or you don't.
That's a great attitude to have.
Works. It's black and white. There is no in between. Either you want to fuck with me or you don't. And that's what, when you go to Brazil, and I'm going to compare each number to when I went to Brazil. When I went to Brazil and I saw those Texan games disappear, and either she wouldn't give you her number or she would give you her number. 90% of the time, if she gives you her number, it's going somewhere. In the United States, 90% of the time you give a chick your number, it's not going anywhere. Then it makes you wonder why.
Again, it's like, I get it. I can't combat that. I've never been to Brazil. I've never talked to a Brazilian girl. But the thing is, what kind of women are you talking to? Where are you doing this? Because, again, the United States, you make out of it what you want, or at least what you can, right? So you're going to have a drastically different experience depending on where you are. So if he's saying this and he was in a metropolitan big city like Atlanta, New York, Dallas, Los Angeles, San Diego, and he's saying this kind of stuff, all power to you. I see why. But I should have ran this disclaimer at the beginning, but it's like, this is going to be a battle of a personal experience, right? My personal experience is going to be drastically different from his. That's not saying that he's wrong. I would never come out and say you're wrong about this, but I will say I disagree and offer you the situations and evidence that I can present to show you why I disagree in this, that, and the third. I feel like this is a worldwide thing. Now, to him, well, not to him, but definitely his personal experience, it's not. Maybe in Brazil, women are more direct with that kind of thing. But the games don't just stop there. I've talked to women from different places. The Philippines, I forgot what that European country. It's a southern European country. I can't remember the name of it. But talked to a girl from there. Alaska, which is still America, but I'm throwing it in there. Have I gone to Japan? No, not Japan. Nonetheless, talk to women from all over. It's virtually the same. And then there's some places to where I'm going to go off stereotypes here, where women are notoriously, you know what I'm saying, what was the word be, promiscuous or dongy, like France, the country of love and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? There's stereotypically games and whatnot. You got to be this, that, and the third. And then, again, I'm not too qualified to talk about it, but I'll just stop there and say that it's not just a U.S. problem. It's other things. Oh, what is this? Oh, okay.
Why did you give me your number? I mentioned in a TikTok video, a chick left a note on my car. 2 chicks left a note on my car. And then I call or text, and then I can't even hook up a date with you or hook up a time to see you. Why the fuck did you leave a note on my car?
No, I get that part. I agree with it, But then again, certain amount of women, you can't apply that to everyone. I even me as your 5'4" rated dude, I've had that experience where a lady approached me at work and whatnot, and was clearly nervous and whatnot, and she asked for my number and this, that, and the third, even texted me first, and I responded, and then like 2 or 3 messages later, she leaves me on red, and it's like, why did you even go through all that effort and whatnot? But it's just kind of, it is what it is.
I don't have time for that, y'all. That's like a bunch of fuckery. Nobody has time for the texting games, the communication games. And number 2, flaking. Okay?
Oh, introduce this to me.
There is a high, unless if you are some sort of super rich man or some celebrity, there is a high flake rate in the United States. So we were teenagers, we knew this, right? But I had time for that when I was a teenager. Like, I didn't have a job or anything. I wasn't doing shit but going to school and going home. I knew when I went to the mall, I had to get 10 numbers. Or if I went to Six Flags, I had to get 10 numbers. Why? Because out of 10 numbers, only 3 of them motherfuckers gonna text back. I don't give a fuck what nobody says.
I mean, he's right, but that's just like, I get what he's saying, but that's just a wild thing. Not wild thing to say, but that's a wild thing to point out. 'Cause that's how it goes, right? You know what I'm saying? You're going to have exes for a reason. There's going to be people that just aren't interested. Maybe it doesn't work out. Y'all could grow out of each other. Maybe she thought she was interested, but like she looks at you and thinks you're hot, and then the personality isn't what she expected it to be. You know what I'm saying? When people see you, sometimes their idea of you doesn't really match who you really are. And some people have that trait to where they can kind of adapt and kind of grow to love who you really are over what they expected you to be and whatnot. But the thing about this is, like, that number will shock you. I would go get 10 numbers and only 3 of them would text back. That means 7 women flaked on you. I guess that's what he's using that for. Well, that's kind of how it goes. It's like every woman you talk to isn't going to engage with you seriously. Maybe it's different in Brazil, but that's just how it is. It shouldn't be that way. Otherwise, you marry the first girl you ever hit on, right? You kind of bounce around and you find the whatever. Now, that is kind of extreme saying you'd marry the first girl you'd ever hit on, but that, you know what I'm saying, you'd be in a borderline flirtationship at minimum with every girl you find interesting, or just so happens to find you interesting too. But there's nothing to say.
3 of those are gonna text you back, and out of those 3,
that's just how it goes.
Maybe 1 or maybe 2, you're gonna see again. it's just that. I don't care. Anybody tells you otherwise is full of shit, unless they're some sort of celebrity, but they're not living the regular lifestyle like us. So as an adult, I knew that going, okay, probably still the same thing. I still got to approach a lot of women. But then it was just coming back like, damn, the flake rate, it seemed like the flake rate has gotten worse. And I know some dumbass watching this video right now is going to be like, look in the mirror, look in the mirror. That's not the fucking problem. Because this...
You know, I really don't have a problem with what he's saying. I actually think this is good. I'm glad to actually hear somebody explain this, because we would look at him, a majority of us, and be like, just like how I started the video, he looks like a guy who can get just about any girl he wants. I mean, assuming they don't have a prejudice or, you know, something against black people, you know, or just prefer a different race or whatever. Like, but it's good to hear this, because I started to see this firsthand when I lived with, you know, at my old house. You know, there's people that will get a lot of women and whatnot, and there's people, well, outside of like celebrities and the way these YouTubers and stuff present themselves, there's guys that get a lot of women. We see them in middle school, high school, college, work, X, Y, and Z. But the thing that they don't tell you is, yeah, they may have these women or whatnot, but they don't tell you about that in-between period, how difficult it is to actually find these women. You might, you know, in high school, you might have a guy who was like, oh, yeah, I've slept with like 5 different women or whatever, or this, that, and the third, or I did, you know, I've been with her. Well, you're in high school for 4 years. You know what I'm saying? So if he slept with, let's throw out a random number, which is a lot, but let's say he slept with 15 different women, and he did that, he did it with them twice. That's 30 times having sex over a period of 4 years. You know what I'm saying? 4 years is what? 12 times 4 is, don't roast me for my math, but 48, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's 48. That's 48 months. You know what I'm saying? That's what's up, Zaka? So that's once a month. What is he doing those other, each month has like 30 days. So what is he doing on those other 30 days? Looking for the next girl to sleep with. Stuff like this, where you're running around trying to find somebody. You're going up to 10 different girls saying, hey, can I get your number? Hey, can I get your number? And to a lot of people, there's some people that does not affect them. Rejection is just a part of the game. It's a numbers game. Go up to as many of them as you want. All you got to do is get that one shawty. But to many of us, we may try that, and that will really hurt your feelings. Like, I tried the numbers game online. I tried it on dating sites. That hurts. You know what I'm saying? And when you know what I'm saying? Like, it got so bad to the point, like, I'm not even, like I said, I'm an average guy. But it got to a point where I ran out of people to swipe on Tinder. See, it's really good to see, like, somebody who is clearly attractive, right? This is a hot dude. It's really good to have even him say it's still a numbers game for him. Because some of us get this distorted view of, you know, he can get a woman. If he can go outside right now, go talk to 10 women, 5 of them were at least texting back, he could probably go on a date with 3. Within a week, he can get laid, right? We look at it that way. But, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of good to see that they have this trouble, too.
There's an abundance of men saying the same thing, and then you hear about these women wanting to just have validation, and social media and cell phones have created this, where they have access to so many men, they'll flake on you.
That I disagree with. How do I word this? Not that I think what I'm about to say is stupid or controversial. It's just I don't know how to put this in a way that would make sense to, like, older people, right? People will blame this kind of stuff on cell phones and whatnot. But you'll watch older... I know movies and TV shows are a stereotype of what's going on in society and whatnot. But this has been going on forever, right? You know, people will point out that prostitution is the oldest profession, right? One of the oldest. It's been going on forever. You know, this is not a new thing. The things you see nowadays are not new. These issues are not new. It's the way it's been forever. Just because it's documented and it's more in your face doesn't mean that it's happening more. It just means that you see it more. It's more, this information is now more publicly available to you. Before, you would have no idea outside of your public experience. So, back in the day, I'm pretty sure there were women that would turn you down. Playboy existed, this might not be exact, but before the internet like blew up. There were still Playboy bunny girls. There were still porn magazines. There was still all this. There were promiscuous women before. There were women that feel like they're high end and this, that, and the third and would turn down guys before. Don't blame it on this. Just because, now if you said maybe it's easier nowadays because a girl, your average girl who's good looking could go on TikTok and get an audience of 10,000 just trying on bikinis. Okay, cool. You can blame that on phones because that wasn't possible before. But for you to assume that, I can't even remember the fucking word he used for it, but like, these girls are flaking more because of the internet and whatnot. Maybe that might be true to a slight statistic, but the fact that you pretend that this is new, that girls got an iPhone and was like, oh, I'm not available to everybody now. I'm a fucking queen. You know, you gotta pay for this. No, there was girls like that before.
In a minute. And with dating apps, they're 90% of those women on dating apps are there for validation. Like, they're not there to actually meet you when y'all match. I can tell you.
Validation is the word he used. I'm pretty sure, I'm not in tune with like old culture or whatnot, so I can't give you examples, but I'm pretty sure there was girls that would ride with a high roller just for validation back in the day. I'm pretty sure there were girls that would try to get with Biggie and whatnot for the validation, try to get, you know, fucking Al Capone to buy her a super expensive purse so she can look better, you know, have a little flex over the other women on the block or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So not new.
On one hand, how many women I've met off a dating app, which is at the most 3. I know for sure 2, but at the most 3. And this is 2 years of being on a dating app.
Really, really good to hear him say that. Now, I ain't gonna lie. From looking at this, you know what I'm saying? It probably goes both ways with him looking for a specific kind of girl that won't be on Tinder or dating apps because she doesn't need them. But it's still good to see him say that. I feel like there's a lot of nuance to some of the things he's saying that he's not really explaining. But yeah, this stuff is true.
It's like just women that'll match, and then you'll get to, hey, okay, let's meet this day with the woo. I tried a lot of different strategies. I tried the sweet talking, then I tried to just going straight to the point. Neither one of them works. Okay, and there a lot of them, these women are insecure. They have low self-esteem, so they get on these dating apps just to reject dudes so they can feel like, man.
I mean, I'm not going to say that they, you know, I feel like a good portion of us would get on a dating app because they're insecure. But I would argue, out of my personal experience, that dating apps made me more insecure. I ain't going to lie to you, because my theory, the reason why I got into dating apps is because, you know, I moved here. And after a while, you know, girls just wouldn't fuck with me no more. So I figured, you know, if girls won't fuck with me here, girls from other places will. So I got into dating apps and whatnot. And it let me know that it's not just here. Bitches don't like you no matter where you're at, right? And I can't remember what what he said. Run it back.
That'll match, and then you'll get to, hey, okay, let's.
Oh, he called them insecure, but I don't think he could be right that a majority of them do it out of insecurity. Some of them do it out of fun, but then again, it's a whole lot of nuance to it. You're not arguing the nuance. The nuance is so important. These girls get on there and they might just swipe right on you and whatnot, and they may like you and not text you, or they might reject you because you're going on there to find X, Y, and Z, whatever you're on there for. So she might have matched with you and thought you were hot and started texting you. But then again, just because she's talking to you doesn't mean she stopped swiping, doesn't mean she's off the app. So while she's texting you, she could get a better offer, something that she's more interested in, and then she stops. because that's just how it goes. Like you pointed it out earlier, women get way more engagement on dating apps than guys. Cause that's just how the supply and demand goes. So you can't say that they're only doing it for validation. They only swipe right on you just to see like, oh yeah, this guy likes me, good, and then that's it. Now there probably are some girls that are that way, but the thing is, like, there's nuance to it. Some of them just may get better offers. If you wanted to buy a Subaru BRZ and the best price you get on that is $13,000, right? And you're like, okay, I'm finna go buy this Subaru BRZ for $13,000. And the day before you go buy that Subaru BRZ, you're scrolling online looking for a better deal. You find one. It's a little bit further away. You know what I'm saying? But this Subaru BRZ is used, still under 100K miles. Let's say 50K miles, good condition and whatnot. And it only costs you $8,000. You're just gonna not go to that fucking appointment to get that BRZ. You're not gonna go to that dealership. You're just gonna go to the better offer. That's how it is with these dating apps. So we shouldn't act like they're doing it. You didn't reject that BRZ for validation. Yeah, I could have got that BRZ, but I want this one. You know what I'm saying? Now, again, if we're looking at some of these thumbnails and whatnot, where he has like a girl in them, I could probably see why he feels like they do it for validation, because there's some girls that are like that, and I'm stereotyping here, but I feel like it's the kind of girls that he goes after. But that's just me. Oops, that is not what I meant to do. He is blowing up.
I tried a lot of different strategies. I tried the sweet talking, then I tried to just going straight to the point. Neither one of them works. Okay, and a lot of these women are insecure. They have low self-esteem, so they get on these dating apps just to reject dudes so they can feel, man, I could get into that. But these women, they just get on. Remember this. When you get rejected, half or more than half of the time, it's just for her ego. It's not because she has a boyfriend like she told you. It's just for her ego.
That's a fallacy. That is a fallacy. Now, it might be true from his perspective and the kind of women he's dealing with, but out of personal experience and just given the general thing, they could have found another option. They could have thought their idea of you could have been different to, you know, what they actually thought you were. Or there's a numerous amount of women, but to say that, you know, a majority of the time is just because they wanted validation is off. It's not true. It's just not true. They just move on. Some girls, you know, like to me, like the best time to find a girl to talk to would be at like, you know, crazy hours of the night, like 11. You know, girls that can't fall asleep because like they're bored. They got nothing else to do. You can't go outside. You know, if they're living with their parents, you can't make too much noise at midnight. So the best thing that you can do is just text someone. So you'll hit somebody up. You know, I'll hit girls up midnight, this time, the third, up until early morning. We will talk all night, and they never text me again. It's not because they didn't talk to me because of validation. They talked to me because they had no other option. They were just bored. They grew out of it. You know what I'm saying? They woke up in the morning, got some more DMs, found another offer. You know what I'm saying? So the premise of what he's saying is right. Like, it has nothing to do with you. Most of the time, it doesn't. There's nothing you can really do about it. But you shouldn't say they're only rejecting you for validation. It's a variety of issues. It's, again, nuance. My problem with these kind of like videos is the lack of nuance. And people act like I get it here. It's a video. I don't think he really cares about video length and whatnot. But especially on like podcasts and live streams, people will ignore the nuance. It's like you're there for hours. Explain. Elaborate. You shouldn't, you know what I'm saying?
They're just rejecting you for validation for themselves because they're insecure. Uncertainty. So uncertainty is normal in every country. But
thank God.
In the United States, it's a lot more common to run into somebody that's uncertain than somebody that is in Brazil. In Brazil, like I said, it's black and white. It's a yes or no, I like you or I don't like you. I want to see you again, I want to fuck, or I want to be with you. There's no in between. That's why when you go to these other countries, it seems like the women are moving fast, right? But that's because you're used to bullshitters. You're used to women in your own country that are bullshitting you, that are uncertain. So what's another example of uncertainty? Here's two of them.
Right now, I'm indifferent.
There's
I'm
a
gonna let him
chick that I
talk.
approached at the gym, and I've said this before. I approached her at the gym, and clearly she has some sort of interest because I caught her, looking or whatever. So I went up to her, introduced myself, and she's like, "How old are you?" Whenever they say that, y'all just walk off. So she said, "How old are you?" I told her 23. She said 32, and she's like, "Oh, well, I have to think about it." Bitch, I'm not gonna let you think about it. I'm like, "No, I don't do thinking. Either you're gonna decide now or not."
I mean, I can't really speak on it because this is literally an example I use. Like, if I explain like what I am, what I look like, my exact phrasing is like I write a lot. Is I'm not attracting a girl from across the gym. So this is an experience I'll never have unless I'm a public figure and whatnot. But then again, that's a certain kind of girl. You know what I'm saying?
You think you got me on a leash or something? Like I'm gonna come back and double check. Hey, just see it if you want to talk to me now. Sorry, baby, you got the wrong one. And you're not even like, and that's the thing. You're not even top notch enough to do that. Another version of uncertainty that United States women have is talking with you, and this goes into the validation. Talking with you for an hour straight. I mean, they might kiss you, hug you, y'all out somewhere hanging out, and let's say you're not even trying to take them home. You say, "Hey, let me get your number." "Oh, I only do Snapchat." Guys, you're not kids. That's disrespectful. Leave them alone. Count.
This guy is clearly older, so I get that. Like, if a woman your age is like, "I only do Snapchat," I'd feel a little off. But at first, I couldn't really defend this. But to most people, that number is kind of personal. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't feel like it. Like ironically, Andrew Tate said this. Like they'd rather give you an Instagram or a Snapchat. I don't believe it's for the reason that Andrew Tate said, but he did say it's because there's always they already have a bunch of strangers and random people on there, so they feel more comfortable putting you on an app with a bunch of strangers and people and whatnot because of that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like a good example I would give is like you probably wouldn't. Never mind, some people would, but I'm just gonna say personally, I wouldn't add you on Facebook. Facebook is full of like my family and whatnot. And people I went to school with, people that potentially can see me on a regular basis. I would rather have you on Snapchat, Instagram, or give you my number because now I know, like, if you're on Snapchat, there's certain things I post there that I wouldn't, there's certain things on Twitter that I wouldn't post on Snapchat. There's certain things on Snapchat I wouldn't post on Instagram because Twitter, nobody follows me. I can say X, Y, and Z, whatever, and I don't have to deal with it IRL. Snapchat, same thing, this, that, and the third. But nonetheless, it makes the transition from if she doesn't really rock with you, you know what I'm saying? If she grows out of you, loses interest, it makes that transition from you being someone she was interested in to a stranger easier. Plus, to me, I always equated it to if they don't like you, they get that extra view on their Snap story. So, that ties into the validation thing he said. Maybe that's a little bit of a contradiction on my part, but yeah.
On how many hands that chick gave you asked her for a number, she gave you her social media instead. Count on one hand how many of those women you actually met.
I don't ask for a number. I ask straight for social media.
It's probably max one. For me, if she says, just give me I'm gonna give you just my social media, I just take that as rejection because that's rejection. It is rejection. That's not what you didn't get what you asked for. They rejected it, and they gave you a subpar product. Okay, here, that's fine. And if she's really interested, I'm sorry. Because, there are some weird dudes out there, right? But if she's really interested in you and she see that, you decline taking her social media, she'll say, okay, well, here, just take my number. Then you might know you have somebody that may have dealt with a stalker in the past, but that's just a cop-out for them to say they had a stalker.
I'm glad he said that, because that didn't even register to me. You know what, that's an argument that doesn't really apply here. I don't know why I was going to make it, but I was going to say you don't know what people have been through. You don't know why they feel X, Y, and Z. So you shouldn't really hold that against them. But yeah. It's invalid.
Give you her number. And the thing is, I don't even need your number to stalk you. I can follow you out to the car and get your license plate. You can get stalked without the phone. Women been getting stalked for hundreds of years. So
he points that out. Women have been getting stalked for hundreds of years, but women wanting validation and being women flaky is a new thing. Come on, cuz. I think this is a good video so far. I like it. It's gonna recommend me more of this, but I genuinely am not interested in this topic. But not like I find it interesting. It has to find me. I'm not going out of my way to find these kind of videos. You know what I'm saying?
Don't buy that bullshit. Number 4, a lack of femininity. So right now, we know we have women that are calling dudes bro. We got women that are wearing boy clothes. We got women that are that want to go 50-50 and want to.
I don't see from that, 'cause he's traditional. I don't see the issue in that. You know what I'm saying? Like there's always been counterculture people. They've been doing that since like the fucking 50s and whatnot. So I don't get why girls doing counterculture things is a knock. You know what I'm saying? Some girls look good in boy clothes. It's just how it is. If some of them steal your hoodies, does that count as wearing boy clothes? My girlfriend looks good in my shorts. I really don't care what you wear or you being less feminine per se. If I find you attractive and I approach you and I feel like the person is something I can work with / enjoy, okay, whatever. You know what I'm saying? If you think if you don't like girls that wear boy clothes, you know what I'm saying? If you see a hot girl and you're like, I don't want to talk to her, she wears boy clothes, cool, keep it pushing. She's not for you. Keep it going. Don't use that as a knock. You know what I'm saying? If you see a girl and you're like, wow, she's kind of cool, and you want to go talk, well, obviously you wouldn't think that, but if you're like, oh, she's hot, you approach her and she's saying, yeah, bro, she's using like manly language or whatever, keep it pushing. She's not for you and whatnot. If you want a traditional relationship and she's like, nah, I'll pay for this date, baby, I got you, I'll order you this food. Hey, don't worry about it. You just blew a tire. I need you to get to work so we can split the tire. If you don't want that, keep it pushing. You shouldn't use that as a knock. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't use that as a knock on, like, I couldn't think of an example, but you just keep it pushing. You know what I'm saying? I don't, the thing is, yeah, there's nothing more to add. I was going to say the thing is like, if you truly like somebody and they have this quirky thing, it's not going to be a knock. It'll be funny. You know what I'm saying? If you think someone's beautiful, attractive, and you love their personality and whatnot, if they show up in something ridiculous, you're going to laugh, and most of us will kind of point it out. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you're with your girlfriend or boyfriend and you find them attractive physically and mentally, and he walks into the room in a fucking bunny costume, if you're not a fan of bunny costumes, you're probably going to burst out laughing. You're probably going to be like, yo, what the fuck do you have on? So it's like, if you're not on that level with that person, you probably shouldn't be with them. If you're at a point where you're looking at them and you're like, yo, take that shit off. What the fuck are you doing? Why are you wearing that? Again, there's certain people who are just like that in general. But if that affects the way you view them, you shouldn't be with them. You know what I'm saying? If you're dating someone and they decide to start wearing boy clothes, assuming they don't look absolutely ridiculous in it, cool. Do your thing, shawty. Be counterculture. But counterculture is a thing that's been forever. So, I you know what I'm saying? If you don't like counterculture girls, just don't talk to them. Don't use it as a way to knock the dating scene.
Or they want to be the leader of a household. We got women raising their voices at men like they're men, but they only doing that because we know we can't hit them because it's an unfair fight. That's why you shouldn't hit women. But those are all masculine, they're non-feminine. Let me just say it. They're not feminine traits, right? So when I went to Brazil, and when you see these women in other countries, you get the soft-spoken, the sweetness, and either she's calling you by her name or she's calling you something sexy like baby or daddy. She's not going to call you bro.
I have, of course, these are isolated experiences. He went to an actual foreign country. But I've noticed that foreigners are for most of them, especially if they're new to the country, are super super polite. But you got to remember, it's a different culture outside of there. You know what I'm saying? Like there are countries in the world where girls are still not countries and cultures where girls are still getting married off to people they have no choice to. So they have no choice but to be polite. There's still countries where like women don't, you know what I'm saying? Like they don't have the opportunity to provide for themselves. Therefore, they have to submit. You know, I mean, he's basically seeming like he wants somebody submissive. They have to submit because like there's genuinely no other way, or that's just how they were raised. That's how everyone's raised. And you could argue that, you know what I'm saying, that's a good or bad thing. It is what it is. Like if that's how your culture works, your culture has been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years. If it works, it works. You know what I'm saying? I'm not arguing how people are raised, but here in America, there are so many different ways to be successful, and just about anyone can do it from any starting platform. So, you know, nowadays, you know, of course, it's something that people still want to work on and may think it's not a point where it should be. But a woman can be financially independent. She can do just about anything a man can do outside of like professional sports. But even there's women professional sports. So women can do anything here. There's no limitations on what they can and can't do. So some of them might be more quote unquote masculine, have leadership qualities and this, that, and the third, or be more impolite. It's because they don't have to. It's not necessary. You know, they can walk around with confidence. Not saying that Brazilian women aren't confident and whatnot, but they can be that way because they don't need you, right? Or that's just how they were raised. You know what I'm saying? If they had a single mother and they watched their mother raise them and do this, and this, yeah, they went to school and they had options all of their life, they're going to be a certain way. And also, the kind of women he's dealing with, it's different. There's nuance. Not every woman's like that. But here in America, like I get his argument, but there's a reason for that. It's a different culture. You can do whatever. You can be whatever. You don't need a partner to do X, Y, and Z. Therefore, they might act that way because they don't have to appeal to you. They don't. You know, and that's the best way to be. Like you should. I prefer that because now if I know your character, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's easier for me to determine whether I want to interact with you or not. But if you're always shy and polite, there's going to be times where you're not, or you may not actually, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of watery when you're always that way. Sometimes, to me, it's kind of confusing.
Bitch, I'm not your bro. Don't call me that shit. That shit gets on my nerves. Every chick that has called me bro in the past 6 months, we don't talk anymore. I'm not your bro. You know, I don't have sex with my bros. Stop calling me bro. I'm not your bro.
I don't know why they get so deep about that. It's just it's a phrase. Like, she's not calling you nigga. Like it's just like, you shouldn't say oh my god, right? You shouldn't say Jesus Christ. You shouldn't say stuff like that, but you do because it's just kind of a involuntary phrase. If a girl grew up with if she has two brothers, you know what I'm saying, and they're on Xbox calling each other bro all day, and she has a bond with her brothers, she's gonna call people bro because that's just how she was raised. If she went to school and she didn't really associate with like the other girls because they were too preppy or whatnot, and she hung out with some guys, and they're like, yeah, bro, she might call you bro because that's just how she was raised. Now, if you don't like it, you don't like it. But to be offended by it is absolutely wild. Bro, brother, this, that, and the third. Like I don't. It's hard for me to explain because there's certain things to where it's so wild to me that you would feel a certain way about it that I can't convince this guy to like the word bro. But I'm just gonna point out that I think it's odd to get this visibly upset because a girl called you bro. Now, if she's like, and you know what I'm saying, there's a difference between like just speaking fluently and then some just slips out, right, or whatnot, but and just saying it specifically, you know what I'm saying, like you know what I mean. But I feel like hopefully he's not the kind of guy to where if they're texting or in a conversation and she's like, yeah, bro, I did this the other day. How are you? And then he stops talking to her. It's like, you should at least let them know first. You shouldn't just be like, she just called me bro. I'm done with this. Like, at least, hopefully he does. I'm not going to make that assumption. But you shouldn't just dip on the first time they call you bro because they might not know. Because some people prefer to have a girl that's a little more, one of the bros,
Just get rid of that word in general. Stop calling me bro. But you just have they have the women in other countries. They have the femininity role. They want to be led. They'll hold your hand. Y'all know what femininity is. If you can look at a movie from back in the day and how the women behaved.
I know he's using that as just a reference, and it's not that deep. And this might be a little hypocritical since I just said a girl calling bro isn't that deep. But movies are stereotypes.
It's nothing like today. You know what I mean? Women are starting to grow mustaches now. There's this thing going on now where there's not even a gender that exists anymore. So you're not going to tell me femininity is scarce now.
I get what he's saying, but again, those are radicals. You know what I'm saying? And there's two different things I want to argue here. But those are radical people, right? And the gender identity thing, I disagree with it. I don't care if you feel that way, okay. It doesn't bother me. That has no effect on whether I get to work tomorrow or not. That has no effect on whether my Xbox works. I don't care if you feel like you don't have a gender identity. I'm indifferent about it. But you know what I'm saying? To me, it's whatever you're presenting yourself as. But you shouldn't. They're doing this application thing. There's not a gender anymore. A vast majority of people you encounter believe in gender because it's a scientific thing. It's how the world is. Now, you're taking a small group of, I don't know, let's say there's 2 million people in the United States, 10 million people in the United States that do not believe in gender. They think that there's no gender identity and this, that, and the third. They feel like the they-them community. Let's say there's 10 million of them. That's not even 10% of the women alone in the country. So you shouldn't just throw, you know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be like, just apply that to the other 90% of us. I just called myself a woman. 90% of us because of a small group of people that's less than 10% of the fucking country. So no matter how many people a majority of us are indifferent. So I get what he's saying about there's no that gender identity. So of course girls are less feminine nowadays. Like I get what you're saying, but the way you're wording it is off. Even if 20 fucking million people identify as they, them, as a fucking Apache helicopter, that's still less than 10% of the population. So, yes, I disagree with that. And another thing, Playback has been a good job of explaining this part, is people are like, they're not like the old days, back in the old days. Women couldn't get a fucking job back then. Of course they're going to be so more submissive. They can't fucking feed themselves. They can't, you know what I'm saying? I don't know why y'all want these Middle Eastern ideologies to where a bitch can't leave the fucking house without a man. Like, that's stupid, okay? If women can do shit by themselves, of course they're going to have more masculine traits because that's how you get around. I don't understand that shit. Like, it wasn't like back in the day. Shit progresses. You know what I'm saying? We have technology now. There's different career paths. Everything's fucking different. It's not the fucking 40s. You can't just drop out and go be you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't just fucking rainbow and sunshines back then. Niggas was sending 15-year-olds to fucking war. Niggas was 17 going to fucking war back then. It was not rainbows and sunshine. Stop pointing that shit out. It's not as good. Like, I don't fucking understand it. Like, people act like it's so bad nowadays. It's not. It's actually a cupcake. If you argue we're soft and X, Y, and Z, whatever. I can understand that. It's hard to argue. But if you're like, oh, women are less feminine nowadays, because there was fucking tomboys back then. If you go look up the fucking World War II poster, they have a woman doing a fucking muscle pose to encourage people to join the fucking army, to encourage women to go to work. Because the men were dying. So I don't understand this ideology. This shit is not new. You know what I'm saying? It's not fucking new. There's tomboys. Counterculture started 80 fucking years ago. 80 fucking years ago. It's not new. It's just on TV now. More of you see it. You had to be in a certain area to see this kind of stuff back then. Or maybe it was just in your town area. Like, you didn't get to have a bird's eye view of the fucking world back then. That's the only difference. It's the same shit. I don't get why they are like, oh, it was so better back in the day, and this, and the third, and this, that, and the, you know what I'm saying? There's fucking mob bosses back then. Not saying there were mob bosses now, but there was fucking niggas getting shot in the street. Fucking, what was it, the Valentine's Day Massacre and shit like that. There was niggas gun running. Shit is not, shit is safer nowadays. You, like, oh, also, you're black. You're black. Back in the fucking day, Jim Crow. You didn't have fucking rights. What the fuck? I don't understand it. I really don't. Dog, shit was not sunshine and rainbows back in the day, bro. If you go back to these old movies in the 70s and 80s, people were racist. The KKK was a thing. And using my own logic, that's still a small group of people. But, you know what I'm saying? Niggas was bombing churches and shit like that. Niggas fucking, I forgot the name of it. The experiment they did on the fucking black people with, like, diseases and sexually transmitted diseases to see if it would, how they affect people. Like, it's not fucking sunshine and rainbows. It's better nowadays. You might think it's softer, but y'all gotta stop alluding to back then acting like it's sunshine and rainbows. You can't just pick and choose certain parts of the past and try to compare it to today. Because today you see everything. You see everything. You get a visualization of everything. You're not going to remember everything for the past. And for the most part, you weren't even alive during that period of time. So you have a distorted view of what it was like back then because they only pick and choose the best parts in certain parts of history to show you. Because one, most of it's not relevant, and two, you know, conspiracy theories and whatnot, but I don't really believe in those. So you thinking that in the 1950s, it was just man go to work, find wife, she cooks and cleans for you, yada, 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 this, that, and the third. For you to think that there was no divorces back then, it was wild. For you to think there was just no independent women back then is wild. For you to think that women, all women were this feminine, wear a dress and skirt and yes sir, no sir kind of person is a fallacy. It's just a fallacy. It's an opinion based on misinformation. It's not how it was. It may be my view of it is a fallacy. We don't know because we don't live back then. So I genuinely just don't understand why people would just, like, they have this back in my day. It's not. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get why. Let's keep it going.
It has become scarce. Some of these women, they're challenging you like they're men, and then if you hit them, it's a problem. Well, look, we got to figure out. We're gonna have to act like a woman or a man. Which one we gonna do? Number 5, insecure women. So almost all this ties.
Wait, I'm not gonna assume, but
The insecure women, the texting games, the flaking, the uncertainty, they are not secure, right? So if you're a guy that's doing pretty well for himself, I'm 23 and I'm way ahead of people my age, and I know that. And I've experienced a lot to know a lot of this stuff. When women my age, especially my age, whenever I run into them, they're super insecure. Like they think, oh, I'm not ready for this guy. I don't think I'm better than nobody else, right? But when you start acting like you're not good enough for me, now I'm like, okay, well, maybe I am too good for her. Like, what's the reason or why, you know, and that's the thing. Why can't, here's what women need to understand. We just want to be sometimes, not sometimes, most of the time, we just want a woman to be cool with. Like, and I'm not saying there's no sex involved. I'm saying, but like, just be cool. When I come approach you,
Okay, like no, what you say is not terribly wrong. But then again, insecure women and men have been a thing since the dawn of humanity. Like as soon as we evolved from Neanderthals to Homo sapiens or whatever, or whether you believe those are two different species, it's a human emotion. We all feel this way. Now you can argue that maybe we're a little more insecure nowadays than back then and whatnot, but I be losing train of thought. What the did he just say? Because I was like, yo, what is going on here?
Okay, well maybe I am too good for her. Like, what's the reason or why? And that's the thing. Why can't? Here's what women need to understand.
He said that he wanted a woman to be cool with, but he doesn't want a girl to call him bro. Now, that's his own personal boundary. But to some people, that is more like cool, chill, someone to hang out with when they're calling you bro. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be playing fucking, well, I don't know if he plays Xbox, but I don't want to be playing fucking Xbox with you and you're like, yes, sir, no, sir, this is that, and the third. Call it, say government name. Like, just be like, yo, bro, he's over here. You know what I'm saying? Like, we put ourselves in different situations, so of course his view on it will be different. But insecure, I don't know.
Sometimes, not sometimes, most of the time, we just want a woman to be cool with. Like, and I'm not saying there's no sex involved. I'm saying, but like, just be cool. When I come approach you, if you accept and you want to talk to me, just relax, talk. There doesn't need to be an issue. There doesn't need to be a motive, or do you approach everybody like this? We don't need that. But women are naturally insecure. That's why whenever you go on a date with them, if there's not enough other women looking at you, they feel like they're with the wrong man, and then they become to lose interest in you. As men,
where the fuck did you hear that? Whoa, that's so. What kind of fucking women are you dealing? That's so backwards, right? If she's insecure and feels like she's going to lose you, why would she want other women to be to show interest in you? Because wouldn't that mean she has a higher chance of losing you if other women are interested? That I'm not saying. Well, I disagree with what he's saying, but I'm not trying to say that like he makes no sense. But if he's speaking from personal experience and he dealt with a girl who was like that, or girls who were like that, who were like, if other girls aren't looking at him, I don't want him, but they're insecure, isn't that kind of backwards? That's kind of counterproductive. If you're insecure, I don't get it.
Like I said before, I don't give a fuck who's looking at you. I like what I see. That's my type. Now, if other men are looking and they're, okay, that makes me feel even better, but I don't need that. But the thing is, women need that. So don't ever tell a woman that you haven't had sex in years, or you don't ever get looked at by women, or there's nobody on your roster, or you don't.
I don't give a fuck what nobody says. I will tell you, like, they tell you not to do that and whatnot. I keep it a being. Like, you're going to find out regardless. So why would I lie to you about body count, or if I'm talking to other people and this, that, and the third? Like, why? Why would I do that? You're going to find out. And it's like, if you're that special, I'm just going to stop talking to them. So I don't get why you would inflate that. Because, like, at that point, you're lying. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, he probably wouldn't be, because maybe he does get a lot of women. But I don't get why you would lie about that certain thing. Because it's such a hollow character trait or accolade, right? If I'm talking to you and you're like, you only have one body, really, and you don't like me because of that, we're not compatible. Keep it pushing. You may have been hot and I may miss you for a few weeks, but I'm better off without you. Like, because that's such a hollow thing to be upset over. That's such a hollow deal breaker. You're not talking to multiple other women? I'm the only girl you're talking? Like, again, different kind of, like, he is clearly talking to different kinds of women, because I have never had that.
have options because then they're like, oh, this must be something wrong with this dude. He could be a goddamn 6 foot, 6 figures, 6 abs,
6 abs,
7 figures actually. He could be the perfect man. But if you tell him you have no options, it's over with. Don't ever even tell him that. Number 6, makeup. I like my clothes. Women in the United States, they don't like men's clothes. You know why? Because whenever they lean their head on you, it looks like they're still leaning on you. Nobody, no, I'm not going for that. I like my clothes, and I want you to look similar to when that makeup comes off. In the United States, we don't want to fix the unhealthiness that's making your face look non-radiant or it's not glowing. We choose to just cover it up. But when I went to Brazil, there was a lack of women with makeup. Now, I say out of 10 women, at the most, 2 are wearing makeup. Even the ones I've seen in the United States are Brazilians that are...
Now, this might be a stereotype, but Southern America is, I shouldn't, this whole time I've been talking about generalizing, but most of them probably don't deem it important as they mostly want to spend their money on feeding their family and whatnot. But here in America, for the most part, you have extra money and whatnot. Most of us have extra money, even if it's a little bit. But he says here in America, women wears makeup. Now, I know he didn't mean it this way, but it's the way he put it out is that he made it seem like makeup is only an American thing. I don't know about you, but that sounds foreign to me. 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 Any more? Yeah. I thought it was going to tell me where it's from. I'm pretty sure Dior's from. That might be created by French elegance. That okay. It's not. It's not an American thing, bro. They wear makeup everywhere. Have y'all seen a geisha? Hold on. Now, of course, every Asian woman doesn't look this way, but how do you spell geisha? Of course, every Japanese girl doesn't like, but makeup is a universal thing. Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? Now, of course, his view is a little different because, you know, he went from here to Brazil, where, according to him, they don't wear that much makeup, but.
Here, they don't wear makeup. Like, they just eat good. They take care of themselves. Learn how to take care of yourself. And you don't have to be, because you'll be, as a woman, you'll be more secure because you know when you wake up, you're good.
You know, another thing about this is, like, he's saying, like, they eat good and whatnot. Well, most of them, you know, in other countries, well, at least the way they make it seem, they eat a lot healthier because, A, they have to eat foods that are, well, it's just a different culture. Some cultures use more nutritious things to make meals. Some cultures don't. You know, in America, fast food is prevalent. You know, soul food and all that is prevalent. It's just our food choice and that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm not too deep into like skincare yet, so I can't really tell you, but a lot of that stuff is bad for your skin. We do a lot of things that are bad for our skin. Most of us don't have a really good skincare routine and whatnot. So that's why a girl may wear a little makeup. Or maybe they don't have, you know what I'm saying, fixing that kind of stuff takes a little bit. And then maybe they don't have the time to fix that kind of stuff. So I don't get why you make that. It's different cultures, you know, and obviously he dislikes it, but I don't think he should view that as a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? If he's saying like they eat better over there, well, here it's really easy and sometimes even more affordable to eat unhealthy, which would negatively affect your skin. But you know what I'm saying? Like saying that, implying that it's better over there, or they're, of course, in his personal preference, that Brazilian women are better. Now, this isn't the only reason he stated, but they're better because they don't wear makeup because of, you know, the things that they do and the foods that they eat. It gives them more natural skin. It's kind of flawed. Like not the opinion itself, because that's his reality, that's what he believes, but you're comparing cultures there. Like, you know, there's girls here that are vegan, or they use that extra bit of money to eat healthy, and they have naturally clear skin and whatnot. Now some of them still wear makeup just for, you know, aesthetic purposes, but I feel like that's kind of, I don't know, I feel like that's kind of hollow.
So yeah, I mean, I enjoy. Everybody should enjoy natural beauty. I mean, if you like artificial women, go ahead. But everybody should enjoy natural beauty. Drink some water, do a face care routine, exercise, eat healthy. That's all gonna get your skin right. Sleep right. I mean, I know everybody's not gonna be perfect. My skin isn't perfect, but bitch, my skin shouldn't look better than yours. Number 7, a lack of traditional values. This means that if Austin wants to be a provider, hey, you don't have to agree with that. You won't be my woman, but
Okay.
yeah, I'm not splitting 50-50 with you. Traditional values, oh, you know, the man gets served first. I think I've experienced one time where somebody told me I can come up and get my own plate. And I'm like, even if my homeboy came over my house and I cooked, I'd make him a plate. That's just common courtesy. So you have so much pride as a woman that you won't even make me a plate. Bitch, fuck you. So, you know, traditional values, those are like just a small sample of traditional values. But like, I was raised to never eat my food until the woman is served, if we're out to eat somewhere. So, but that's all going away in the United States. And if you were raised like me, and you have some sort of old school raising traditional values, your best bet is going to be to get out of here, because you might find it. You might be 45 years old. If you're 20 right now, you'll be 45 years old when you find it. But I mean, hey, if you enjoy wasting life, stay here. And
The thing is, like, I'm trying to word this because I know what I want to say, but it's like, how do I word this? If you're looking for traditional, you know, that's a preference and whatnot. But most of us nowadays, we're growing up, and that's kind of doesn't really appeal to us. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, there's going to be X amount of people who want it and X amount of people who don't. But most of us are indifferent and can go both ways with it. So I feel like this older generation of people, like, they forget that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like they'll acknowledge it's a different time and then point out all the bad parts of the different time instead of acknowledging the good part. Like, you know, people adapt with what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, it's less traditional. Girls want to go 50-50, and they're comfortable enough to say, make your own damn plate when you come over. Most of us just kind of, you know, we adapt to that. It's what we grew up on. We don't mind it because that's what we know. There's nobody telling us that that's wrong, because it's not wrong. You know, it's a subjective thing. So to him, that could be a deal breaker. But it's like he ended with, if you want to waste your life looking for this, then stay in America. Well, most of us aren't looking for that. We don't care to have it either. You know what I'm saying? Plus, most of the time, most of us can't afford to be, you know, the sole provider. So it's becoming necessary for us to, you know what I'm saying, pair up to, you know, be financially independent, although you're a duo and whatnot. Like, you know, I've been hearing, like, in Japan, they're not, you know, they're having a virgin issue. Like, people aren't having sex because they're too busy working to live, you know what I'm saying, to have houses and whatnot. So here we kind of combine together to be able to support each other and whatnot. So that's why you get these less traditional relationships, because one, girls are now able to be more independent. They can do their own thing. They can have their own jobs, have their own car, have their own house. So they don't need to rely on you to get them fucking Arby's or McDonald's or whatnot. Like that's easy for them. You know what I'm saying? It's a couple bucks. So they don't mind splitting, you know, 20 McNuggets with you. They don't mind splitting a restaurant with you. The bill's going to be like, what, $30-$40? That's $15. that's not even what they put in their gas tank, so they don't mind that. So I don't see why that would be like a knock or a discredit.
And last, number 8, bad hygiene. I have expressed this a lot. Now, when I say bad hygiene, I'm not talking about dirty teeth. That is a thing too, but I'm not talking about dirty teeth. I'm not talking about hair that stinks. I'm not talking about dirty clothes. I'm not talking about musty. I'm talking about the pH balance. The pH balance. Now,
What?
the fact that when I say stuff about this pH balance, there's people out there that try to excuse. They try to come up with an excuse for why a woman might hurt pH. Look, I don't give a fuck why your pH is off. All I know is if I had a vagina and I smell like a can of tuna, and when I walk in the room, I spray air freshener on myself, I'm going to go to the doctor. I'm going to get on Google. I'm going to buy some from the vitamin shop that might help me to, the probiotics. Do something, man, because, and this is mainly a problem with the younger women. All women have this problem, but all ages, have this problem, but it's mainly the women under like 27. And it's non-negotiable. Why do you smell like fish? In the United States, if you're a man, you're accustomed to it. If you're about to be a sexual woman, you put your fingers, when she looks away, you're like, okay, let me check. It's a damn shame we got to do that. But, it's normalized. And I can say when I went outside the country and I went to Brazil, I have yet to run into one woman in Brazil that has been fishing. At the most, it was like a musky, like a sweat. But that's natural. But there's nothing natural about your body smelling like a fucking sardine. And we can try that bullshit. We're supposed to have some sort of smell. But the first time I ran into that, I washed my hands like 7 times with the scorching hot water and dipped my hands in hot bleach, and it was still in my hand for 3 days. Ladies, is that really the impression you want to leave on men? We can try to bullshit of they didn't grow up with a mother. You know your vagina stinks. Cut the bullshit out. But yeah, those are 8 reasons that had just kind of confused.
I can't give an opinion. Yo, that last one was fucking wild. I can't give an opinion on that last one because I haven't had that many experiences, and I have yet to have one of my friends explain themselves having an experience like that. But it is what it is. It's just a war of personal experiences, and I can't tell him his personal experiences are wrong because that's what he deals with, and he felt like it was enough to get him to go to Brazil to do X, Y, and Z. And if he thinks it's cool down there and he likes it down there, hey, that's on him. To each his own, you know what I'm saying? I just think it's not as bad as you make it seem, and it might be an issue of the people you're interacting with. I think when it comes to like the internet, and sometimes I see this a lot in real life, is that it's the people you're interacting with. Like you have to accept it. Now sometimes you don't have a choice. You have to go after certain kinds of people because you just don't have access to the others. But you at least have to acknowledge, you know what I'm saying? If, just like Playback, when they get on there and they talk about, like, they react to the hood girls and they're like, I want a man that does X, Y, and Z. You know what I'm saying? I like drug dealers. I want a dude that makes 6, 7 figures. Well, it's because that's how they're raised. That's what they have access to. So, you know what I'm saying? Like him, if you're going after high-end women, you're going to have that issue of them flaking you more often because they have more options. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to accept that if you're going after, here's a good way to put it. Everything has consequences. You know what I'm saying? If you do something, there's a consequence to it. Are you okay? Like, the number one thing, if I ever have a kid, is that I would teach him, you can do whatever you want as long as you're okay with the consequences. If you want a high-end woman, you have to be okay with the consequences. You know what I'm saying? If she's financially independent, she might be less masculine because she doesn't have to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how it goes. She might work at a place where she has to be. You just have to be, like, understand that there's going to be nuance and whatnot. Like, it's really hard to explain because, like, one of those things that you should feel. Like, you should just know this, right? Like, I can't pinpoint who he's going after, but I can assume it's your stereotypically attractive, your bad bitches, your high-end women. So it's like, this is just the consequence of going after those kind of girls. If you want a more traditional girl, you should look in a more traditional place to get it. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you're getting a frat girl from fucking Texas Tech, you shouldn't expect her to be X, Y, and D, right? If you're... I'm not really, like, in tune with this kind of stuff, so it's hard for me to think of examples. I just gotta say, like, that's kind of how it is. And you shouldn't apply this to everyone because you haven't dated everyone. Like, what I started out with is, like, even if you interacted with, talked to, dated, had sex with 10,000 women, that's less than 1% of the women in America alone. So you still don't have a really good experience of women, especially if you're only dealing with one type of girl. There's, people are the ultimate variable. Everyone's different. There might be people similar, but everyone's different. And I think these guys really, they take that personal experience and they just ignore that fact that even if they'll be like, I've been with hundreds of women and all of them are like this. Are you going after the same girls? Even if you've been with 100 women, that's probably less than 10% of the women in the place you live in. You know what I'm saying? There's like 10, 20,000 people here where I live. You know what I'm saying? If I've been with 200 women, that's literally 10% of 20,000 would be 2,000. So that's 1% of the women in the area, right? So, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think I get what these guys be saying with these kind of videos, but they really ignore the nuance. They really do. And then they'll take their personal experience and their own fallacies and present it as a fact. You know what I'm saying? Now, he did have moments in there where it was like it could be either way, but that's the part that I mostly disagree with. When you take these fallacies, these personal experiences, these isolated events, and you're like, this is what it is. This is the truth. Yes and no. It's a fallacy. It's your personal experience. It's true to you, but you just talked to 27,000 people, and they're going to have different experiences. And some of them might feel very passionate about their experiences. So you should always leave that in there, like, you know what I'm saying? The kind of the caveat, the to at least acknowledge the experiences these other 27,000 people would be. You know. Now, of course, I don't believe he expected to get on here and talk to 27,000 people, but there's always that chance. And eventually, I don't know how long he's been creating content, but eventually you'll realize that, hey, there's a lot of people out there, and they're all in drastically different situations. You know what I'm saying? There's a person that probably disagrees with everything I said, but he probably lives in fucking Los Angeles, a huge metropolitan city. I don't live in a metropolitan city. My city is probably equivalent to the outskirts, like the fucking boonies of Los Angeles. You know what I'm saying? Like, my whole town would be considered a fucking suburb to like Atlanta or whatever. So, yeah, it's just a war of personal experiences, and mine do not align with his. And I can see where he's coming from and what he means, but I do think if he actually moved to Brazil because he hated the dating scene in the United States that much, I feel like that's kind of a stretch. And I feel like he didn't, like he said, taking a look in the mirror. I don't think it's taking a look in the mirror per se as like fix yourself, but I think it's understanding yourself and what you're trying to accomplish and what's the best way of doing it, and understanding the game you're playing, right? Because, yeah, like I feel like there's some standards that I can't give him advice. I don't know him, but like personally, like sometimes you have to realize like me, like at one point I realized like it's not me, it's the type of girls I'm going after, and I had to acknowledge either A, chase different women, or B, just deal with what's going on because this is the path you've chosen. And that's how I went. And I had that self-reflection, and I was like, you know what? I'm looking for these kind of women in this kind of place. That's not going to work. So I changed the place where I was looking for women, and long behold, I got one. So sometimes it's like your path might not be wrong, but the way you're going about it is a little wrong. But yeah, this was a nice little test stream. I wanted to see if I could record and stream at the same time, and I ended up getting really animated on this, which I didn't expect to do. And we've been here for 2 hours, which is a great sample size. So I'm going to stop the recording, and I want to see how this turns out. As for the people, when this finishes processing and whatnot, which is going to take forever, I am going to cut this down and then, you know what I'm saying, cut out the intro and then leave the stream up and whatnot. And hopefully some people swing through and they enjoy. If you've seen this live or you're